Hello, Fractal friends! So today we are going to use Blender and Octane to recreate this scene, or at least a very similar scene, from a clean project to the finished render with the Vectron, some volume, the Fractal, and I'll cover also some materials. So let's start. You can just create a new Octane render startup. I'm going to use path tracing, so let's use that. And to enable Octane, just click on the little icon, and you should see something like this. Then we can just get rid of the daylight environment and instead create a texture environment. Let's duplicate it and select a black plate for the visible environment, and we have a nice diffuse cube with no light, actually diffuse light. Now we create the Vectron object. Call your material Vectron or something like that. You can just create the Vectron node now, connect that to displacement. I'm going to use this OSL script with the hyperbulb, which is a really fun fractal we've been working on. It's a 4D version of the classic Mandelbulb, so you have different ways to make animations, and you can loop different parameters. Just hit compile, and then you need to go under data and Vectron and select the Octane Geo node as Vectron node. And that's a bit confusing, but it works, so just stick with that. And here you go, you have your nice fractal. So you can tweak all different parameters, there's many. Now we can just start to set up the cameras. So I recommend you to lock the current camera to view, so it stays, you can move around with that. When you press 0 on your numpad, you can just switch between your camera and your viewport camera. So let's create a new light. And I want this light to always target the Vectron object, so just select that, set that to track 2, and select the cube. So in this way it's always facing the fractal. That's nice. Then you can also change the size of it. I want it to be a little smaller because this will give us some God rays with the volume later. Let's center up the camera and we are ready to go. And you can tweak a bit the post-processing in Octane. This is really cool, I love this. Okay, let's focus on the UV mapping of the fractal. So create a gradient map with some colors and then create a sign texture. Okay, and then we need a special projection because we want to use only the U component of the UV mapping. So create a new text and paste the UV mode projection script. Sometimes it is hard to preview where the colors are going, so let's create a custom AUV capture. This node allows us to connect and preview the gradient map only without the global illumination. So let's put that in the middle so it will capture the gradient. And set number 2, actually it's wrong, it's number 3, but anyway, we need to create a new render AUV switch to Octane render AUV and just add the preset. And select the AUV number 3 and number 3 on the material as well. And that's it. So now you can capture and preview your gradient. So we are going to do the same for the emission. So just duplicate the nodes, and we are going to use AUV number 4 to preview the emission gradient. So for the albedo, we used U mapping. Now for the emission, we are going to use V mapping. So change the projection to VV actually. And now you can control all the emission gradient parameters with the color period V, color offset V, orbit method V, and etc. I like these tiny flowers of emission. So let's switch back to beauty and decrease a bit the power of the emission to 10. And looking good. Yes, looking good. A little bit of more light from the diffuse environment. And we can just add a volume. So just add a cube. Make it big enough so it covers the fractal but doesn't go inside the light. And to make it as volume, just enable mesh volume in the data tab and create a new material with a volume medium node. Connect that to volume, and that's it. So this is really dense. Just decrease it to 0.01 and you get a nice white volume with some God rays. That's perfect. You can even add some dust particles if you have some, or just create some particle system. Oh yeah, switch the albedo gradient to transmission so we get some nice, more organic shapes because the light bounces inside the fractal. And now I just made some adjustment to the material and played a bit with the colors. That's up to you, so take your artistic freedom here. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was a nightmare to record after like 1 year of not doing tutorials, so it's a bit confusing here and there, but I'll get better for sure. Thanks.